In a series of unexpected events last week, the LA Lakers finally ended up trading Talen Horton-Tucker for Patrick Beverley. A shock, to say the least, considering Talen was once considered the backbone of the team. In this video, we'll elaborate on the reasoning behind the trade as explained by Mark Stein for all the fans who are confused, shocked, and a little heartbroken. Let's dive in. First up, why the Lakers decided to trade the shooting guard. Lakers fans had the ground pulled from beneath their feet earlier this week when news broke out of the team finally trading crowd favorite Horton-Tucker. To say it came as a surprise is an understatement. The young stud was admittedly not on his way to become a star anytime soon, but he had an undeniable potential on the field. Now that he's traded to Utah Jazz for Patrick Beverley, the veteran point guard, many are confused as to why the trade even took place. NBA insider Mark Stein took the liberty to explain what made Rob Pelinka make such a choice. Here's the deal. The team never planned to swap Talen for Patrick when the teams began discussing a potential swap back in July, which makes sense too. It's no secret that they wanted to have a younger, faster, and more athletic roster this season. Then things took a turn a month and a half later when Kyrie Irving went off the market. A trade for him wasn't possible anymore since Kevin Durant revoked his trade demand in Brooklyn. It's no secret the Lakers were waiting patiently for him, especially since LeBron James was so eager to reunite with his former teammate. Irving was definitely the priority until he wasn't. Not only that, but LeBron himself signed a max contract extension with the team last week, which drastically increased the urgency of the situation. Let's see how the team went about it. Swapping THT for the 34-year-old point guard is definitely a win-now move that the Lakers have made. However, this means Beverley will have to stay on the floor and deliver up to their expectations to justify their decision. Over the past 2 seasons, the point guard has only appeared in 95 games, whereas Horton-Tucker has been held out Kyle Lowry trade talks with Toronto in the 2021 trade deadline, then was re-signed by LA in the 2021 offseason by trading Alex Caruso instead. Needless to say, giving up the shooting guard was a pretty risky move. Unfortunately, the Lakers are missing out on Irving for now, whether they like it or not, so they kind of had to look elsewhere to improve their roster. Of course, what THT brings to the table will be missed. On the bright side though, Beverley is both a veteran playmaker and defender with tons of experience. He's the kind of guy who motivates his teammates and pushes them to their best abilities, bringing out the best in everyone. At the end of the day, Rob Pelinka thinks he's more important to the team than the former second draft pick, so we're just gonna roll with that. Even Horton-Tucker might benefit from this trade. Here's how. After a tumultuous 3-year run, the time has come for Talen to leave the Lakers. Believe it or not, this may not be a bad thing. Let us elaborate. After winning the 2020 NBA championship, the shooting guard had a great breakout season in 2020-21. He went from a number 46 pick in the 2019 draft to signing a $31 million contract with the Lakers last summer in 2 years, which is no small feat. Then came 2021-22, and the Iowa State alum began lacking consistency and struggling to shoot well, and his future with the team came into question. That's not all though. The 21-year-old was also facing other difficulties with the veteran-heavy team too. He couldn't make friends with them the way he needed to. According to Chris Vernon from The Ringers, the young stud was pretty lonely on the team, sort of an island as compared to the rest of the roster. It adds up too. The team is old and full of veteran players, and the young guard didn't have the kind of familiarity with them that they did with each other. Maybe it's a good thing Horton-Tucker's part of the Utah Jazz now, especially since he's now got the chance to revive his career in Salt Lake City starting this summer. He's got the same idea too, it seems, with his appearances at Pro-Am events to stir things up. More on the Lakers trade and why it will be beneficial for the team. For starters, the Beverley trade signals a potential trade that could be even bigger, perhaps involving Russell Westbrook, or at least that's what former Laker Rick Fox thinks should happen, tweeting about how LA should bring in Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, both of whom have been in talks for a Lakers move the whole summer. Plus, now that LeBron's committed to the team for at least the 2023-24 season, LA has the incentive to think and act fast. The Lakers initially refused to include Horton-Tucker in a trade for Kyle Lowry, and that's what most LA fans remember him for. As reported by The Athletics in March 2021, the team was ready to send Dennis Schroeder and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to the Toronto Raptors, but weren't budging when it came to the young shooting guard. Then negotiations fell through, and Lowry ended up with the Miami Heat, which at the time wasn't that big of a blow. Horton-Tucker had enough promise back then for everyone to justify the Lakers' decision, especially since the roster didn't really have any young talent except him. Maybe the company bit off more than they could chew though, because things went downhill for THT after that. Hitting just 26.9 of his three-pointers in 2021-22, the 21-year-old's performance was at a steady decline. Not only did he fail to play to his strengths as a slasher and facilitator, but he couldn't stretch the floor as an off-ball role either. We're not saying the young guard should be completely given up on, he's just got a long way to go, and that shouldn't be at the expense of the team. Moving on to why trading the 21-year-old was a good decision. Let's be real, the Lakers could look pretty foolish if Horton-Tucker began thriving with the Jazz. Then again, had he stayed with LA, it doesn't seem like he'd have made much progress, given the company's priorities as of recent. Swapping him for an experienced veteran was probably the best tactic for strengthening the supporting cast around Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Though there are definitely some long-term problems with how LA handled THT and what could have been done instead, this trade is probably a genius move on Pelinka's part. The fact of the matter is that Beverley will give a lot more to the team than Talen ever could, even if he was a young asset. It's unfortunate to say the least, but the 21-year-old has simply not blossomed the way the Lakers probably hoped he would. The 2021-22 season was supposed to be a formative year for the shooting guard, and the Lakers invested over $10 million into him per season. Yet his game showed no signs of improving, and the team was left disappointed. Not only did he become even worse on the offense, but his defensive playing wasn't worth writing home about either. Many are of the opinion that the former second draft pick was simply not going to work in LA, not because he doesn't have potential, but because his contract with the Lakers only lasted through the 2023-24 season, and any blossoming he does will probably happen after that. Finally, why this is a step in the right direction. What's more is that the young stud's value as a trade asset would have continued to deteriorate had he not shown improvement on the court, which, by the way, has already been deteriorating over the past year and a half. If Horton-Tucker stayed in LA, the team would have had to both give him his salary next season to someone who simply doesn't have enough value, and they would have been able to get anything in return for trading him. To put it bluntly, Los Angeles has a better chance at contending after trading him for Patrick Beverley. That's not to say there isn't any more work that needs to be done. There is, but trading off THT is a step in the right direction. With this swap, the team is showing their commitment to winning and getting a solid, strong defensive guard who would really help them achieve that, which is great for everyone, especially LeBron, to whom Pelinka made a commitment to contending. All we're saying is don't be surprised if the Lakers decide to make follow-up moves, and we see a starting five good enough to contend in the championship, one that includes Beverley, of course. At the end of the day, even if Talen Horton-Tucker ends up being a great all-round player in a few years, it won't be a loss on LA's part. It would never have happened with them, whereas Beverley is definitely a promising investment with the potential to be part of something great this season. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of the Lakers' decision? Do you think it'll be good in the long run? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.